Hello and welcome to Comic Solving Problems. I'm Stephen Allen.
And I'm Erich McElroy. Good evening.
Welcome along to the first in an exciting week of topical comedy broadcasts from us, where we'll be looking at the news and solving the problems. And it's been a busy week so far. Clearly, we've had the issue of the pink supermoon. I saw that was covered in a lot of newspapers telling you they had special guides on how to look at the moon. If you couldn't work that out on your own, then this is not the show for you. If you actually missed the pink supermoon, already we can help you out and solve a problem. All you need to do is look at any moon using the wrapper from Equality Street's fudge. There you go. Solved a problem straight out the traps. Nice. As we plow on, you can put your problems in the comment section as well. Get involved in the comments. We can chit-chat there and share the link, because people might be wanting to sit down and watch this kind of business. And what's the other things? Thank you very much. You've already got a ticket. Thank you very much. We'll talk about the opportunity to chuck some money in the pot later, but we shouldn't do that until we've at least done a couple of jokes. And I think that means we are all ready and set to solve some problems. Mr. Erich McElroy, what have you got for us?
Yep. Since we can't necessarily hear your laughter or your boos or your derision, if something happens that you enjoy, you can hit the like button. It's a very simple thing that you can do if you're on the YouTube. That's what the function of it is. It's going to be weird when we go back to live gigs, isn't it, Steve? When we're expecting people to just press a like button instead of laugh at our jokes.
Yeah, that's going to be... Well, no, it'll be good, because that way you don't hear a laugh and you just presume, I guess, they've clicked something.
Just assume that they've subscribed because they're not laughing. Yeah. Well, Steve, this is a problem that we've been dealing with a lot over the last few weeks, and we've got another week of it left, and it is the problem of running for mayor of London. Woo! I'm going to miss that jingle when it's gone, aren't you? Well, this is an interesting one because we've been profiling different people who are running for mayor of London. And this time we're actually going to be looking at two different people that are running for mayor. And they are two YouTubers, Steve.
Are we running for mayor?
Did I not tell you that I filed the paperwork? I mean, I figured we had time.
I'm up for it, yeah.
We're unemployed. We got stuff going on. It's not us.
Which one has to drink piss?
That will get explained, actually. That's coming up pretty soon. These are actually two proper YouTubers, Steve. These are young men in their 20s. And you think, is that right? Being mayor of one of the largest city in Europe, one of the largest cities in the world. I mean, this takes real seriousness of character, of commitment. And you look at the other candidates who are running, like this guy. All right. Fair enough. You know what? I think if a couple of 20-year-old YouTubers want to run, that's maybe not such a bad thing, is it? We're going to look at each of them. The first one we're going to look at is Max Fosh. Here's a little bit from his channel, of course.
I've got one aim with my mayoral run, and that's to get more votes than this silly little goose, who's also running.
They stole a march on your indecision.
Already, Steve, you know that I'm a fan because he wants to just do better than Lawrence Fox. I mean, I'm not going to vote for Max, but if I was going to vote for somebody else, I would be tempted just to make sure that he gets more votes than Lawrence Fox. I think that's actually not a bad thing. The other YouTuber is a guy named Niko Omilana, and he's taken this a little bit more seriously. He's really thought about this for quite a while.
Niko Defense League is NDL, a movement so powerful it dominates the comments of every live stream on YouTube. But how can we take it to the next level? Well, what's NDL backwards? It's LDN, it's London. So NDL times the London Mayor campaign is written in the stars.
Now, I have to admit, Steve, that when I saw that whole NDL, LDN thing, it just kind of irritated me. And I thought, well, maybe I'm just too old or whatever, but this is just, I don't know. It just got on my nerves. But I did watch more of his video, and I actually quite enjoyed it. I enjoyed a number of his clips, and that's why normally when we do a profile of the other mayoral candidates, we try and kind of take the piss out of them. But these guys are actually quite funny. And so I think you'll understand and respect the fact that as a fellow comedian, the first thing that we want to do is to not highlight someone else's funny, especially when we see that they are about 20 years younger than we are, and they're funny, and they have more subscribers. Both of them can go fuck themselves. Because they're both really, they got the energy, they got the commitment. I mean, they may not be getting their deposits back from the election, but they're going to be getting some deposits. Let's put it that way. Gonna have to wash their socks, boys. But socks. Remember, anyway. The thing is they're kind of they are really amusing. I enjoy both of their channels, and I thought, you know what, this is not a bad thing because, you know, they're youthful, they're getting the engagement, and then for us, Steve, if this comedy thing never comes back, maybe we can leverage this channel into a political career.
Yeah.
Thinking maybe. So I'm like thinking maybe that's the next step. Celebrity, got Donald Trump to be president, YouTube celebrity, that's who the people who should be in political office should be. And then I was thinking all of that, and I found this guy who's in America who ran for public office there. His name is Joey Salad, or Salads? I'm not sure. Well, let's look at his Twitter handle here to see. Can't look at that. His Twitter handle there. Because he's been dropped from Twitter because he was just a teensy bit racist, apparently. So maybe it's not all YouTubers who should go on to political activism. And you're thinking, well, as a YouTuber, what was it that really got him noticed in the first place? Well, it's not what you might think.
I won't comment on any views he has regarding who he supports or anything, but I do want to mention something very important. The fact that Joey Salads has on camera for anyone to see peed in his own mouth.
That's right, Steve. We talked about Brian Rose drinking his own piss, but he was doing it the lazy way. He was putting it in a cup first. Joey Salads, straight from the source.
How do you know how he did it?
Right here, actually. It's a good question. There it is.
Okay.
See? We don't even rehearse this. You just set that up perfectly.
Because I didn't know whether he was going to lie on his back, you know, and have his wee higher than his head.
I like the science. Steve immediately is like, oh, you got to think about trajectory. But he's clearly younger than we are. So that's why he's got the force of velocity.
Still reach that, yeah.
To go. I mean, I'm nearly 50.
I'd do it the other way. I'd lie down I'd have my pelvis higher than my head and trickle down economics, something like that.
You go, well, good. I'm glad that we solved that problem. See, you should run for political office, Steve. You can solve some of the sewage problems we've got in this city. Now, he did realize, because he did the peeing in the mouth thing before he decided to run for political office, and somewhere in between he got a little bit racist and got banned for Twitter. I'm not quite sure of the whole sequence of events, but he did realize that having this out there might be a bit of an issue as he did try and go to become an elected member of Congress, and he did try and deal with it.
But he did try to do some sort of damage control a while later, saying there needed to have context to understand why he did this genius idea.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, it is kind of a genius idea because obviously if you're out in public and you don't have anywhere to go,
Brilliant.
You could get in trouble for weeing on the street. Who can complain if you're pissing in your own mouth?
The other people on
Can't
that train?
complain. Right. Can't complain. No, because you're not peeing on anyway. But you know what? If I were Joey Salads, I would rather have that tape out there of pissing in my own mouth rather than have this tape floating out around on the internet.
They stole a march on your indecision.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Got a head on it again. Froth. You need to drink more water because that is dark. That is tan.
Man of a certain age, Steve.
Let's
there you go.
Jump into the comments because there's already some cracking ones coming through here. Let's have a look. Topical, says Chris Hood, like the cream the doctor gave me. Already off to a cracking start. A couple of evenings. Hello, Britt. Hello, Keith. Hello, Martin. Sorry if I've missed some of the evenings. I want to get into the comments. John says, Ted Hastings for Mayor of London. And Chris says, and his wee donkey. And that was before you even talked about the wee.
Yeah.
So actually, it's always a good guess. You watch this show and you think, will there be some sort of piss-related humour later? Yeah.
We've got some things. I'm not eating bananas anymore, so you've got to be happy about that.
Yeah. Back by unpopular demand.
Make.
Chris Curling says, was Joey Salads the Donald trying to make a comeback? And imagine if you could have lost that weight in that amount of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Mark asks an interesting question. How much did he have to drink in order to get the force needed? And I bet he drinks Carling Black Label. But that's, yeah. Because he was also...
See, that is...
was going to say, it's a mixture of force upwards, but he was reaching down, so it's a mixture of being flexible and having the bladder force.
Yeah, but it's also being younger, because then you've got that thrust that comes from, a young man's stream is something to be admired.
I can't believe we've got into a situation where later on this evening, I'm going to be thinking to myself, it doesn't need to go in my mouth. I've got to get it near it. Do I still have the ability to get near it?
I couldn't. I'd be like one of those fountains that's got the pipes are a little bit loose and there's a leak somewhere else, and it's just sort of...
It's been a long while since I've actually aimed up. I don't know what kind of... Cause plenty of flow, but is there force?
What were the circumstances? I don't want to know.
No, Trump doesn't drink his own pee, says Yale. He has Russian hookers provide it for him.
That's
quality.
True.
Golden nectar. Have you got your COVID jab booked yet, Steve, says Martin S. Stick around for my second topic to find out more on that this evening. Is he just proving his prostate is in good order? Well, that'd make me vote for someone.
Yeah.
What are your qualifications? Keith Foster says, I wonder how he hurt his wrist. He did have the old RSI thing, didn't he?
Yeah, that would do it.
Am I likely to damage my wrist trying to piss in my own mouth? How did you break your wrist? Don't ask. London 2021 says, Brit, piss gulling capital of culture. And Martin S., I hope that was lager you were drinking, Eric. Was it?
Fifth. I'm going to take the fifth on that one. I mean, if I was going for the higher alcohol content, it wouldn't be lager.
No, it would be that lady's wee-wee. Tracy says, taking the piss, but Tish, lovely stuff. Keep the comments coming through. We'll catch it with more. Oh, we'll quickly say, Mark Randall just says RSI, repetitive squirting injury. That's what's happening there. Yep.
And before we get into our second of four stories, I want to welcome some people who booked tickets from Crack Comedy as well. Feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat as well. Thank you for watching also.
Yeah, get stuck in the old chit chat if you're enjoying it enough to make a contribution as well. There's the old Ko-fi link. We can talk more about that later. I'm sure it's in somewhere underneath in some chat. I'm going to solve the problem of scandal. Ooh, it's been some good scandal. And I should say, this is like a continuation from what we talked about last time, previously on the show. Previously on the show, we were talking about Boris Johnson. Here we are. It's a screenshot of Twitter earlier on. Boris Johnson faces mounting pressures following a series of claims and questions over his conduct. A headline that only could have happened at some point in the last 20 or so years. But at the moment, it's been very much kicked off by this that we covered in the last show. Boris Johnson told Sir James Dyson by text that he would fix his tax issue. And we said basically it was good that it was James Dyson because he let us do lots of jokes about vacuuming. And that was all we did. That's the insightful political commentary we managed to bring to you. So there's been something of an update because that information, those texts were leaked and people wanted to know how is there a leak of phone data? And it's unlikely that the leak came from James Dyson because his is vacuum sealed. I did it again. I've done another one. But the information possibly could have been leaked from Boris Johnson. As we saw in Sunday's Sunday Mirror, Boris in phone security blunder, he won't use the fancy proper phone. He uses his own phone that's not encrypted. However, in his defense, he mainly speaks in Latin, which must help. Like, hackers could get in there and go, right, what's the Prime Minister been saying? He must have sat on his phone. That is just absolute bollocks. So maybe the leak wasn't that. And then we started to find out that maybe the leak came from someone a bit nearer. Dominic Cummings was effectively fingered, I believe was one of the phrases online, which is awkward. And then Dominic Cummings has then been right. It's actually almost upsetting to see that they've fallen out because they used to be so close. It's like when Magneto and Professor X used to be best buddies. And now they've just gone the other way. Yeah, but then we got loads more details from Dominic Cummings in his blog. By the way, who still writes a blog? What is this, 2004.blogspot.com? What's going on with that? Why are you not putting it on social media? But fair enough, he wrote, basically, by blaming him for stuff, he said, I'm not a leak, and here's loads of other information that I can leak. So you're a leak then. It's okay, fair enough. But there have been lots of various things that we heard about. The Prime Minister facing tax issues over the flat renovation. So there's a question over the amount of money that can be spent on the flat that he lives in. Some people have been reporting that the money, it's difficult to know where the money came from, and this is the problem. Because Boris Johnson's now apparently paid for it, but if the money came from the Conservative Party, which gets donations, then that's dodgy. And this is the more important thing, because often with these scandal stories, there's something that catches the headline, like the headline about piles of bodies. And actually, it doesn't matter if you say the wrong thing. You can't really lose your job for saying the wrong thing. You'd simply not be voted for in the future. Like, you shouldn't really lose your job for having an affair ages ago. That's baked in. We know that Boris Johnson is that kind of person. Whereas, potentially, money going to the person with whom you're having an affair, or money being spent on a flat in the wrong way, those are the serious crimes. And the thing that gets me, though, the thing that makes it difficult for me to get angry, is that if that money was used inappropriately, it was nicked from people who gave money to the Conservative Party. I'm kind of okay with that. They've probably got too much anyway. Probably drives too much of a big car. Whoever has effectively donated money to the Tories and it been spent inappropriately on a nicer flat for Boris Johnson probably has cut me up in traffic before. So, I don't really care too much. There were loads of details of stuff that's been done to this flat. One of them was something like, I think it was about £3,000 on what they described as an occasional table. For that much money, I want a full-time table. I'm be dicking around with part-time hours on that money. Good God. There was something like £800 a roll wallpaper that they've had done, and they wanted to de-John Lewisify the flat. How very dare you. I will take a lot. But for you to besmirch the good name of Jonathan Lewis, how very dare. I mean, that is a great way to lose Tory voters, isn't it? To shit on John Lewis. Good God.
Definitely.
So that's we'll see what happens in terms of where the money came from, and it's going to be covered up, I'm sure. But there is this issue, the front page of the Daily Mail. Boris let the bodies pile high in their thousands. He said he would rather see these big piles of bodies than have another lockdown. Now, in his defense again, he actually had another lockdown. So the best case scenario, he was lying to himself. Like, he didn't actually go through it. He was just talking big. It was just a bit of hyperbole in a meeting, kind of like, I would rather see piles of bodies by the thousands. And then he just locked down. So we know that the best case scenario, his actions aren't the thing we're upset about. It's just the words. But then it is fun to pick on him for saying stuff. So he's denied it. Maybe Dominic Cummings has got a recording. Can we find out more? And to find out more about this issue, we're joined by a government minister. Hello there.
Yeah, hello, Steve.
Boris Johnson said he will see piles of bodies thousands high.
No, I think it's ridiculous. He would never say such a thing. If one were to try and pile 1,000 bodies, a stack of that size would be insecure. It would fall to one, either the left or the right, after a few corpses.
Right, but what about if you made a pyramid?
So you're suggesting using 2 bodies to support the weight of a third?
I think I am, yes.
In what you erroneously call a pyramid, which I believe is a triangular prism, it would still be quite a large structure.
All right, but the 45th triangular number is over 1,000, so that's as big as it would be.
Triangular numbers. I guess we didn't underfund the state education system as much as we planned. Still, that would be 45 bodies wide, and it's difficult to find a flat plane that big.
And you think that's the only reason that Boris didn't say it?
Yes, I do, yes.
Splendid. Well, there we go. I'm glad we're all on the same page. So there we go. Scandal covered.
And maths.
Bit of maths in
You got to
there.
do some maths.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, you're right. I think the bodies comment, I mean, it's Boris Johnson. I mean, the man was probably talking about the bodies of some women he wanted to see before he saw a lockdown, knowing how many affairs he's had.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was just looking to move on from whoever that current chickapoo is after she made him splash out all that money on the flat.
To de-John Lewisify the flat. How very dare.
I cannot believe that. I mean, that could cost him the heartland right there.
I mean, my people were all, if you besmirch B&M bargains, then my people would be upset.
That's not who you want to mess with. And they went for him, and they went for the Tories now. So maybe this is just to get him more votes.
Yeah.
He's going to start shopping at Aldi next. Let's check in with the comments here. Talking about thrust, it's not really a rocket science. I think that's going back to the piss conversation.
Nice. Good.
Yeah. That's good. We're going to have to clean up some of the piss before we get on to your story, I think. London 2021, piss-guzzling capital of culture.
Yep. Proud of it.
Nice. Very
Normally
good.
Grimsby.
Just imagine Le Mannequin Peace dressed in a suit.
Right.
There we go. Do you do repetitive squirting injury? Did we say that
Yeah,
one
we've
already?
done those
RS9?
ones, yeah.
You did that one. Okay, sorry, I lost track of where we were. Did we do the biggest scandal from the Tories? Is David Cameron putting his junk in a pig's carcass?
We didn't, but that is a very good point. And that's another one of those things where apparently he didn't do it, but it doesn't matter. We will still make jokes as if David Cameron boffed a pig head, because it's funny.
Yeah.
Sometimes funny trumps true.
That's before we were doing this show.
Yeah.
We had jokes about it back in our live shows back in the day.
Yeah.
Can't remember what those were anymore. Second straight story to incorporate leaks, which is true.
Nice.
Says Yale. And Mark says if he was texting using a Nokia 3320, it'd be in Egyptian hieroglyphics.
Yeah.
Which fits in with the pyramid maths that you did.
Yeah, although not a pyramid, a triangular prism.
What? No one knows what that is. Chris asks whether he was fingered in his Barnard Castle.
Ooh, dear, that'd check your eyesight, wouldn't it? Well, it'd make your eyes water. It's good for them.
Yeah, definitely make you go, ooh. Little, ooh.
Like Penfold from Danger Mouse.
You're checking your chocolate pocket there? Mark asks Chris, have you got any chocolate pocket on you today, Steve?
No, nor do I have a... although I did invent something else earlier on, though. So that for people who've missed previous shows, normally I have a sock where the pocket square should be. It's the socket square. And earlier on, I couldn't find my tie clip, so I put a pen across. And I realised using a pen as a tie clip and a socket square is actually another thing to be invented. The pen tie clip. Do you need a pen? Got one right there. So that's also going to be available on the Patreon or Pinterest or OnlyFans, whatever we do.
You are just too cool for school, Steve. And this is for our new watchers tonight. They're gonna be like, "What is he talking about?" Quality phone, Chris suggests, is the 6110.
That was the longer one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't. I kind of skipped the Nokia thing. I went straight. It has Sony Ericsson to iPhone. No, I had earlier Nokia, but those were the days. Sony, yeah.
The small silver Samsung flip one that had a green screen or a blue screen on the front and a green on the inside. Oh, colour technology, in as much as it was always that colour.
I found a video of passing a phone around at a dinner table with a bunch of friends and showing them the fact that it could actually make a video. And everybody's like, "Oh, that's quite cool." The resolution is astounding. Looks like something my child colored in.
Just like our earlier shows on this channel.
Exactly. Right, I'll dump through a few more of these before we crack on. Bojo's text leaked while he was playing Snake. For once, that's not a Willy joke. That one's from Brit. Nice one.
Put a marker in. There's a non-Willy joke in the show. Tonight's the night, and it happened.
So I think it's abbreviation for Dark Dragon 28. It says all the politicians are corrupt. The difference between them and criminals is they do it openly.
Very good. And get away with it, it seems.
Yeah, exactly. And some more conversations about the snake going on there. Someone says, now I can buy my Dyson straightener at a good price.
Yeah, Siobhan going for the Dyson straightener, because they do. But they were mainly known for the vacuum cleaners. And I think, again, I was going to include that in the bit earlier on. That's another reason why it was good that Dyson didn't make ventilators. Because the last thing you want is to suck air out of someone who should be on a ventilator. It makes it worse. I'm not a doctor, but I'm fairly sure that's true.
It does. I'm pretty sure that's going to make it worse. Thank you to Alan, who's made a very generous donation on the Ko-fi page, and Martin has put some Ko-fi in there as well, and I think there's some others, but I can't quite see the names yet. And let's see, we'll try and catch up with a Danger Mouse reference, another legendary childhood memory. There we go. So we're just back. Oh my, I've forgotten all that. I blocked it out. But right, we'll come back to some comments and check in there. Make sure you've liked it, subscribe, and do all those kinds of things. Right, I think this is me. Let me just get there. Let me get ready. There's my note to drink my piss. And this is a good problem, Steve. I think we're going to enjoy this one. This is the problem of the effectiveness of the vaccines. Now, I think that we are saving too many stupid people with the vaccines. We basically, we both followed I'm going to say believe in the science, but we have both respected the science. Is that a good way to say it? Yeah. We've supported the lockdowns. We've supported masks. If you want to see some of the stuff we've done in low res about masks over the last year of lockdown, we've got some great bits in there about the masks. But even though we haven't been able to work in a live environment for last year, we know that the fastest way back is to be sensible and cautious. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And that's, I think, what makes it so frustrating when I look at the people here in the United Kingdom and back in my home country of the United States, and I look at just all of the stupid people out there, some of whom are in elected office. Like this person who's a state senator from Alaska. She's now been banned from flying Alaska Airlines from her hometown of Eagle River to the capital of Juneau because she doesn't respect their mask policy. Her name is Laura Reinbold, and basically she's just not having it. And so she said, I'm not going to fly your stupid airline anymore. I don't care. I don't want to wear a mask. Now, that's fine. That's her choice. But this is Alaska, Steve. I don't know how familiar you are with Alaska, but it is a big fucking place. This is the journey that she has to make, right? The black line there is the flight. It's a 564-mile flight because the only way to get from her town, which is on the left, which is around Anchorage, all the way to Juneau is to drive. The drive is 837 miles. The entire length of the Isle of Britannia is 600 miles. She would drive all the way to the tip of Scotland and then another 200 miles into the ocean to have the equivalent distance. And what's even more offensive about the fact that she's choosing this because she refuses to wear a mask, now when she makes that drive, she has to go into and out of Canada. And that is disgusting. Because do you know what a woman looks like when she goes into Canada who's going from America? This is what a woman looks like in America before they go into Canada, Steve. Patriotic and godly. And this is what they look like when they come out of Canada. Look at that. It's disgusting.
It's pretty good.
All mounted. No, it's not the same. It's Canadian. It's just gross.
Did you say mounted?
Yes.
I don't think that's the correct adjective. She looks mounted.
Do we have our Canadian viewer today? Is James watching? I'm just checking the comments. He's not said anything. Okay, we're fine. We got away with that. But it's not the USA, of course, that's a problem. We had protests in London against lockdown and masks recently, and we had these idiots at the march, the people wearing the Star of David. I'm sure you saw that in the news. They were wearing the Star of David because they think that they've been oppressed as part of the lockdowns and the stuff that's been going on over the last year because of COVID. Now, the Star of David was used to separate and dehumanize a group of people. Wearing a mask and having a lockdown is for the greater good. And I was putting those two things together to try and create a joke about it. And I thought, you know what? I don't even want to do that. I don't even want to honor it or respect it with a joke because these are just, I mean, yes, these people were protesting something I don't necessarily agree with, but these couple of idiots cannot, represent everyone that was there at this protest. There must have been some people there that were just trying to exercise their freedom of speech, like these nice ladies right here.
These ladies have come from Devon and Cornwall. There's 6 women here. And where have you come all the way from? Cornwall, Devon area. You met on the train, a lot of you, didn't you? You've just joined up.
To be around other sane people.
Yeah, okay, fine. I don't agree with what she thinks, but she wants to be around other sane people. I support that. I have no problem with that whatsoever. What are the kind of sane people and what are the kind of sane, rational views?
To be around other sane people that know that the masks are a load of bollocks and that this is genocide.
Pardon? Pardon? We've gone from Star of David to this is a genocide? I mean, I'm not the smart one in this particular duo, Steve. I don't know the meaning of these big fancy words. Let me just pop over to Google here and see what the meaning of genocide is. Let's hear. Oh, yes, genocide. It means, noun, an attempt by the government to save people's lives by requiring them to follow the advice of the vast majority of scientists from around the world. In a global pandemic, it means wearing a fucking mask and following the pissing guidelines. It doesn't mean you can start wearing a Star of David unless you're an ignorant twat. That's what genocide means, apparently.
Makes sense.
But that's not just the only reason that those women were there.
Not sitting at home, not doing nothing, talking about it and not doing anything.
Yeah. Freedom for our children.
That's right, Steve. Freedom for children. That's who they're doing this for. And that reaches us back across the U.S. because the concern over the children has been a big issue there as well, as we see from Fox News' own Tucker Carlson.
For forcing children to wear masks outside, that should be illegal. Your response when you see children wearing masks as they play should be no different from your response to seeing someone beat a kid in Walmart. Call the police immediately. Contact Child Protective Services. Keep calling until someone arrives.
That's right, Steve, because we all know the best way to protect someone in America is to call the police. Can't be any trouble when that happens. Plus, I mean, I'm sure Tucker Carlson's never been in a Walmart. That's even worse than an Aldi, for Christ's sake.
You can tell he's never been in one because your response to seeing someone beat a kid in a Walmart, film it on your phone.
Exactly. And you've never even been to America, and you know that. So, what does Tucker think of the whole mask issue?
A vaccinated person, someone with antibodies wearing a mask outside is like watching a grown man expose himself in public. That's disgusting. Put it away, please.
Okay. I mean, the thing is, if you see someone who's outside and they're a man and they've got their willy out and a mask on, that's very simple. You just ask them to take off the mask and put it over their willy. You're outside. You're pretty safe. Even the CDC has announced recently that you don't have to wear a mask outside anymore. So that's my advice there.
Any news about whether you can get your willy out from them?
Only if you're running for elected office in New York and you're a YouTuber.
Okay.
Then you can. As long as you have enough thrust to be able to piss in your own face. That's very important to have that there. Now, a big issue in the States has been people wearing masks outside. And what do the guys at Fox News think about that?
If you're walking outside with a mask on, I should be looking at you, and I do look at you, like I would look at a grown man hugging a teddy bear while he's walking down the street. You're just afraid. You're afraid of fresh air. That's what's happening.
Yes, I am afraid. I'm afraid I'll run into a bunch of twats like you. That's the bear talking. I wouldn't swear like that. Now, they're very concerned about people being outside wearing the masks. So I've got good news for them. I've got a place that Tucker and that other guy can go. They should come if they want to be outside without a mask. Come to London.
I've just had the privilege of walking through London with 50,000 plus freedom-loving Britons. And the only thing that they talk about is vaccine passports. Every single one of them said the same thing to me. They will die on the hill of vaccine passports.
Yeah, they will.
You know what, Lawrence? For once, we agree. Jesus Christ. So there you go.
That is unbelievable.
Oh,
that attitude.
Thirsty. Just want a drink.
You're afraid of fresh air. No, we're afraid of the thing that's in the air. You absolute idiot.
Just got some piss on the bear. My daughter's not going to be happy.
But your daughter's bear.
Well, of course, it's not my bear.
I mean, that's a good point. You don't have a bear ready for filming this thing. How do you pretend there's a live audience? Right, some of the messages in the messagey thing. Let's have a look what we're going on here. I think we're caught up to the lack of willy joke, which means Siobhan says go Boris. I mean, we all agree, but how far is the question? Yale says, are we sure Bojo wasn't referencing orgy porn when he was referencing wanting to see a pile of bodies? Just let me search for that later. Although Brit says same shirt method. Now, the MP was wearing a black and white checked shirt. I'm wearing a blue and white checked shirt because I don't vary much when I buy shirts. I get one that fits. I buy all the colours of it. Chris says Cummings, the guy nobody believes until he says something we can jump on and write about. Yep, exactly. Eye for detail. No, Brit didn't have an eye for detail. She missed the colours of the shirt. I'm sticking to that one before we give credit to Brit for thinking that I have the same shirt.
Could have been a filter on it, though, to be fair.
It could have been. It wasn't. Dyson has a lifelong vendetta against still air, says Keith. And SodaStream has a lifelong vendetta against still water, says Mark. We're having a nice... Although, Chris, I saw this comment earlier on. This is brilliant. Is Ventaxia still light sensitive? Well, when the light comes on, it's when it seems to activate. I'll give you that. Chris Curling says if Dyson made ventilators, the patient's health would be guaranteed to pick up quicker. And not need the bag changing. Bayerberg says, morning. Morning, Bayerberg! For those who haven't seen the show before, always bang on time if you were aiming to try and turn up late. Either colour and contrast got bumped up or both of you went to the pub before this fine broadcast. I don't know what's happened. My settings are the same, but I did go for a walk in the sun on the weekend and I did burn my face and now it started to... So this is actually... I'm bronzed. I actually am. Doesn't last long on me, though. Dark Dragon says, can't blame people. Our civil liberties are being taken away. I don't even watch mainstream bias news like the BBC. That's what one of the B stands for. You know what the other B stands for in BBC? Also bias. If I'm going to be...
That's why it's good to be here. Because we are totally unbiased.
Totally unbiased.
We will say whatever shit you put in the Ko-fi, we will say it.
Unbiased.
Put it in there.
Hashtag
totally
no
unbiased. You can pay for that filter.
If I'm going to be brainwashed, says Dark Dragon, I choose how I'm brainwashed. I'd rather watch Fox. The TV network or Lawrence Fox? Either way, same answer.
I saw one outside the house walking the dog tonight as well.
Really? We're going through the bins. Did you ask him what it was like to be married to Billy Piper? He's got that look. I had the pleasure of going through the bins with 5,000 people. All they talked about was one issue because they're biased. Wait a minute. Chris Hood says that Tucker Carlson's the American version of Piers Morgan.
To be fair, I have occasionally agreed with Piers Morgan.
And Shades of North Can USA says, wait till she finds out she can't step out of a car without a mask on in Canada. She probably can't pass through at the land border unless she is deemed an essential service, which would be a stretch.
Yeah, she's an Alaskan state senator. That is not an essential service.
It's not essential in Alaska. We'll have to catch up with some of these comments towards the end, but keep them coming through. And there's the Ko-fi link. There's the Ko-fi link. If you'd like to keep funding this unbiased broadcast network, this is where the truth lives. Hashtag truth.
Yeah. Hashtag truth.
Yeah.
Is that the hashtag for... Does that work for...
I'm a bit worried that you're going to do that and do it wrong and a banana will come out of it. There it is. There's the churches, the steeple. Look inside. Yeah, it's a banana. Right, so while we're solving problems, I've got one more to look at, and it is the problem of vaccinating people. And I just want to say, this started because a while ago, they were doing the vaccination in chunks of 10 years. The over 80s, good on you, get vaccinated. The over 70s, yes, have some of that. The over 60s, why not? Get stuck in. The over 50s, go on then. And then I was sat there thinking, me next. Come on. Daddy needs some antibodies. Stevie time. I'm 44. Roll the dice. Whew, they did the over 45s. There's a whole video that you can see on our YouTube channel where I'm furious about it. Because what did I do? I paid my taxes. Well, actually, that's a bad argument. But I want some vaccine with my vaccine, and I wasn't allowed it. And then they changed it so it was the 44 or above got their vaccine. And before I could really get into celebrating it too much, right? So that was the headline. If you're 44 and over, you get it. Thank you to everyone who tweeted us saying, good luck, Steve. Look, you're in it now. We were pretending that we, in some way, had been listened to by the government. And I was about to be, yes, I can finally... Oh, they're giving it to 42-year-olds as well. We didn't even have a day's worth of us being the special ones before they brought 42. It's not even a number. What's special? Oh, yeah, the big 4-2. Shut your face. I can't believe 42-year-olds are getting in on it, which actually I think is only about a year above the oldest technical millennials.
Oh, my God.
In the next slice, we're going to have millennials are going to be vaccinated. And you think we've not been enjoying the idea of going near needles. They'll need trigger warnings before they get shown anything as sharp as a needle. Yes, it is a bit phallic. Oh, in that case, go and have a safe space. It's going to be very difficult to get those people vaccinated. But nevertheless, the 42 and above, we can now get vaccinated. So any questions you'd like to ask me, Eric?
About when you're going to get vaccinated? Yeah.
Me? I'm not having that shit put in my arm. What? No way. Because look, I've been very pro-vaccine before when it was older people like yourself having it. I was all for it. But when it's me having a vaccine in my arm, so I did a little search on the internet, I have got some questions. mRNA. Do you know what that stands for?
It's one of the ways that they've helped create the vaccine so that it can help fight the virus, and it's a kind of a new technology that makes it really effective.
So it's messenger RNA, which really feels like I've not really explained that much. But RN, they're very difficult to pronounce. But the A part of RNA, do you know what that stands for?
Asinine?
Just acid. You want to inject acid into my arm? You can jog on, mate. I was talking to a doctor before saying, what, you're going to inject acid into my arm? I'm just going to bleed to death and keep bleeding out the hole that you've burned. And he said, don't worry, it will clot. And I was like, clots? Oh my God, I don't want to hear that. Unbelievable mRNA. And I was talking to a bloke down Wetherspoons, because the pubs are open now because the vaccination program's gone really well. And I was chatting with him, and he was saying that actually this whole vaccine thing is trying to put a microchip in your arm so that Bill Gates can control you.
Yeah.
And I ask you again, what does the M stand for in mRNA? Messenger, Microsoft Messenger. Therefore, that is definitely true. That is all the proof you need that bit is definitely true. I mean, like, I had some questions when I was chatting with the guy. I was saying to him, like, why would Bill Gates want to control you if you'd managed to make the technology that worked so well that it control a whole human just from a little chip? Why would you not control soldiers, athletes, sex and models? Why would you control someone who hadn't really achieved much in life since he realized he could get served at 9:30? But maybe it's not about that. Maybe it's about he's got the technology. And if it's based on Bluetooth, again, I'm less worried, because if I've got the chip that controls me in my arm, I could be stood right next to the human controller and it won't connect. It's Bluetooth. It'll pick up someone's TV about half a mile away, but right next to it, I'm safe. But still, the big point here is, why would I have a vaccine for something that is simply much worse than the flu? Instead, I think I'll just stick to having my vaccine for the flu, which is not worse than the flu because it is the actual flu. But anyway, that's not the point here. The point is, it's all some big conspiracy. And I know what you're thinking. Steve, what you've said doesn't make any sense. And I say to you, maybe you should read. And if you do read, you'll definitely find out that what I've said doesn't make sense. But if you read the stuff that I send to you, I think you'll find it backs me up. So am I going to get the vaccine? Not until I've written an article for the Daily Mail saying why I don't like it, or if they offer it to me. But until then, jog on, mate.
The good thing is you can do all of that and still get the vaccine.
Oh, yeah.
And just not tell anyone.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
I got nature's
vaccine.
vaccine.
But I didn't get the mRNA. I got the AstraZeneca.
Is AstraZeneca not mRNA?
I don't know. It's a different name. It's not called mRNA.
I think AstraZeneca is an mRNA one. Actually, I mean, someone will know more than us.
No, it's fine.
But it's RNA. It's like DNA, but it's a different structure of acid, I guess.
Yeah, it's Mr. DNA to you.
mRNA. Mr. N. Oh, shit. I did that joke once on radio about MRSA. Is my name Mr. S.A. And I was like, why am I being called? And someone got really upset because one of their relatives had caught it. I was like, yeah, I understand it's upsetting, but also it's my initials. Like, I feel that's my joke. I feel I own it.
Did you say you're not the only one to catch a little bit of Mr. Steve?
Bit of Mr. S.A. Someone's come down with a case of Mr. S.A., but they have.
To be fair, in our comedy duo that we have, I've had the vaccine. So, the logic is, like, if you should be able to say, since I've had it, you don't need to have it because, if your neighbors have the vaccine, that's why Lawrence Fox isn't getting the vaccine.
He doesn't need it anyway. His immune system must be great. He goes through the bins every night.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Actually, I don't mind if he doesn't get the vaccine.
I mean, I must admit, the weird thing is, it's great that I'm now in it, and when I eventually get my email or whatever, when I get the link, when I can log on to something. It is true, though, I have put more effort into researching the link for my self-assessment grant than I have for my vaccine. So that actually does show my hypocrisy. The rest of it was a joke.
You want to go out in style.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not getting that vaccine until they've given me my grant, just in case somehow it means they can send me out to work.
Probably. Let's see. Do we have any final comments? We're going to be back on Thursday at 9:30 as well. And you can catch up on all the previous shows and clips from the previous shows if you don't want to watch all the shows back. We've got them in little segments, lots of little clips now on the channel. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. It's very important. Very important.
Yeah, there's definitely still some more comments to go through if you want to.
Oh, is it my turn? Sorry, I've lost track of whose turn it is. And I don't know when we stopped doing them.
Well,
it's about the Teddy taking the piss. Here we go. Now Teddy's taking the piss, which is true. Is Lawrence referring to Porus's biles of bodies and passports when he was walking around in London?
Yeah,
perhaps.
They probably weren't
Possibly.
chatting as much.
The people that were there. Bayberg says his bear, which means my bear, is in front of the fireplace and shags like a shag carpet. That's not my bear. That's a different bear.
Oh, that's not my bear. Shh, don't listen.
Don't listen. You have to go back in my daughter's room now. Shh. Britt says, if the government said I had to have actual/real complete bollocks on my face, I'd complain. As for the mask, that's totally fine. Apparently, sanity is more variable than I previously thought.
It's because bollocks aren't breathable. That's why you don't want... Over your eyes, fair enough, they're quite cooling like cucumbers, but don't have them around the mouth area.
That's right. Death by teabagging. Something. I saw an Agatha Christie about it once. It's on Pornhub. Anyway.
Agatha Christie on Pornhub. I suppose you wonder why I called all of you into this drawing room. To fuck yeah.
I go for the sophisticated porn action. I'm a quality guy.
Mrs.
Chris
Marbles.
says, she is so sexy. Chris says unbiased truth and a couple of glasses tinking. And also says 42, the meaning of life, universe and everything. Mark says 42, it is the answer.
Yeah.
Is that a Monty Python thing?
Where was... They're all Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy references. But where was my day of feeling special?
Dark Dragon says, interesting fact, the vaccine manufacturers aren't responsible if major side effects develop later down the line. They can be held accountable. They don't mention that in the media. It's quite important.
But then I've heard that being talked about loads. So I actually do think they talk about it in the media. I think it's really easy to say you don't talk about that on the media, and often those people I hear calling radio stations, like I speak to callers who say this never gets mentioned. So it's always worth checking whether things actually do get mentioned, and the reason that they have to do that, the argument for it is, not that I'm saying, hey, unbiased, is that why would they bother developing a vaccine if there was going to be any risk of them being sued afterwards? So they could have just sat it out and go like, well, we're not going to rush through a vaccine because we don't want to get sued afterwards.
Yeah.
It raises questions. I'm not saying that's an answer, but it,
And we have just mentioned it on this platform, on this show. Globally broadcast.
Yeah.
Right here.
Mainstream media, but where one of the M's in MSM means messenger.
mRNA also means my rhubarb needs assistance.
Yeah. Never rub another man's rhubarb.
Possible. Britt says they will say 42 to 49-year-olds have to have the jab up the bum with a super huge needle. Bad luck, guys. I have to say,
that was not a real.
I'm in that age bracket, and it does explain what happened to me in the park the other day. And I got COVID. And Chris says, "What a pain in the arse." mRNA, men really need arse jabs. Quite possible. We could do a whole show on just what the mRNA stands for. John says it used to be called the Oxford AstraZeneca, but Etonians objected because it put the government in a bad light.
Really? Oh, I would not be surprised.
No. Well, nothing would surprise me. Unless it was decorating the Prime Minister's flat.
Unless it's a huge needle right up the tradesman's just to get an injection. That would surprise me. I would do the full-on carry-on style. Woo! I'd do like Penfold. Yeah. I would make a Penfold.
I'd be up for I'd be up for a third shot if that was the case. It's good times. It's been a long lockdown. Mark says, I'm not sure about the mRNA, but the AZ vaccine uses a vector, a modified chimpanzee adenovirus.
Adenovirus, yeah, I think it's pronounced.
That's what I said.
It's just, that It's a virus that gives just a bit of a cold to monkeys, which it feels like if this goes wrong, it's not actually going to wipe out humans. But this could be an absolute shit show for the monkeys. This is exactly. He was eating bananas on the last show. So this could go very badly if the virus from the vaccine gets out into chimp population. It'll be their COVID. Oh, the poor things with the little masks.
Poor little guys. There's a little video going on. Anyway, a couple more comments before we sign off for the evening. Shades of the North, Can USA says, I feel like Tucker Carlson explained the indecent exposure tableau in a lived experience.
Yeah, if you walk out there and see a man with a mask on, it's like seeing someone with a knob out. No, what? You look at it and go, that looks like it needs a wash. No, that's not. Ugh. That's not very tight anymore.
Bayerberg says, I'm about to patent my YSBS homeopathic vaccine. Need to scrub some more of the active ingredients from Weatherspoon's countertops, though. Now you need to get the essence of the Weatherspoon's countertops if you're going to have it really be homeopathic.
There was a story in the news yesterday of it was a family in Florida that was caught making a miracle cure for COVID, and it turns out it was just bleach. And apparently they were caught white-handed.
And that family's last name is Trump.
Yeah, I mean, that's where they're getting the idea from, and people are flipping buying it.
Yeah. Chris Curlian says, I believe Agatha Christie was a fan of A Dutch Blindfold.
Yeah.
Which I think is a Pornhub reference. Not really sure. Mark says the COVID vaccine trial I'm part of runs until spring 2023, so they can check on the long-term effects of it.
Good. Keep us informed in the comment section as well, because some of us haven't booked ours in yet.
Do you think we'll be doing this in 2023?
Yeah, I got no doubt that we will still be failing to get other gainful employment by then. Definitely.
Last couple here before we say goodbye. Steve, this is from Shades of the North. Steve, that was an excellent way of explaining why vaccines are for the good of humanity.
Well, I meant every word of my piece. How dare you not believe me?
Chris says he's taking a thick one in the council grinder.
Oh, gritter. It's Cockney rhyming slang. Eric, it's Cockney rhyming slang like Barney. Gritter. Council gritter, because it chucks out detritus all over the place. You know,
how can I have been here for 21 years and still not get these things?
Not know why. So council gritter means your bum, because you wouldn't want to be driving behind it when it's chucking its load all over the place. That's why. Didn't know that one. And our final comment for the night is from Chris to Bayerberg. Can you not use the soles of your shoes as a source once you've left? I think that means the Weatherspoons for the homeopathic. Just grow your own culture, which is more culture than you'll ever find in there, etc., etc. Right. So before we go, please remember, if you haven't already liked the show that you're watching, subscribe to the channel and buy us a drink, for God's sakes, if you've enjoyed what you watched. If you can, if not, we know it's still hard times for a lot of people. Tell people about the show, have them subscribe as well, because then we can do that pin chat thing on YouTube that all the YouTubers talk about. And then once we get enough followers and subscribers, Steve and I can run for mayor. Yes. That's what we need. Bringing in rules about the size of needles. Oof. Yeah. And then you can put the bin over your head. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we've still not done that yet, have we? Beautiful. Also, if anyone's around in the afternoon and they fancy a drive time show doing that, you can check out my Twitter, which is the thing there. Yes. Cool. Yeah. Follow us both on Twitter and do all those things. Otherwise, Thursday, 9 o'clock. Yeah. Sounds like we're all 9:30. Sorry. 9:30 till 9:30 on Thursday. We'll see you then. Bye. Yeah, bye. Thank you for watching this from Comic Solving Problems. And if you feel like it, go ahead and like the video. Or subscribe. Commitment.